From Washington, the McLaughlin Group, the American original. For over 3 decades, the sharpest minds, best sources, hardest talk.
Issue 1, Trump versus immigration.
So you want
You
them
got to
back?
go. They're illegal. We have a country. We have to have a border. We have to have a wall. Mexico will pay for the wall. 300,000 births this year, illegals in our country. That means we picked up 300,000 people that are going to get Social Security. You have people on the border, and in one day they walk over, have a baby, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to pay the baby.
Donald Trump has announced his plan to reduce illegal immigration. Here's what it entails. First, a nationwide e-verify system that would be introduced to ensure that all workers are legal U.S. residents or citizens. Second, Mr. Trump would triple the number of immigration and customs enforcement agents responsible for deporting illegal immigrants and would force Mexico to build a physical wall along its U.S. border. The Mexican government calls it, quote, prejudiced and absurd. Third, illegal immigrants with criminal convictions will be immediately deported on release from custody, and visitors who overstay on U.S. visas will face criminal sanctions. Fourth, federal funds will be cut to so-called sanctuary cities that refuse to cooperate with federal immigration. Fifth, an end to automatic U.S. citizenship for the children of both illegal immigrants and legal visitors that are born on U.S. soil. Sixth, new restrictions on foreign worker visa and green card programs and access by illegal immigrants to federal welfare programs. Seventh, over time, the deportation of approximately 11 million illegal immigrants residing in the United States, a proposal experts say that would cost at least $166 billion.
Question, is Donald Trump's immigration plan sensible policy? Pat Buchanan.
Yeah, John, Senator Jeff Sessions, who's very much anti-immigration or illegal immigration hawk, is one of the folks behind this. I think it is the most comprehensive program any Republican has put out yet. Secondarily, many of the Republicans are agreeing with Mr. Trump said, including on the issue of anchor babies, John. And people are saying, well, Trump's going to change the 14th Amendment. You don't have to. All you have to do, I mean, the Congress of the United States is the one empowered in the Constitution to deal with naturalization and all the rest. For example, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse were not citizens of the United States. 3 laws were passed to make Indian Americans or Native Americans citizens. That Congress can deal with this. I think Trump has really got the bit in his teeth, and it's helping his campaign, and people are emulating him.
What's the size of America's immigrant population?
It's 41.5 million, and this is what people want, is the same kind of moratorium on immigration we had from 1925 to about 1965, when we assimilated and Americanized, and everybody in this country by 1960s, we all spoke the English language.
Are you saying 41 million illegal or legal?
41.5 legal and illegal.
Legal and illegal.
Yeah.
Okay.
41.3 million according to the Census Bureau. That amounts to 13% of the U.S. population, more than 1 in 10 people. Are the 41.3 million immigrants a record high, or is this a normal level of immigration for America?
It's the highest number we've ever had in the
And
history
how
of the
many
United
is-
States. It's since probably 1920 or 25. In terms of percentage, we had about 15 million there, but it was a larger share of the population from 1890 to 1920.
I show in 93 years, this is the highest level.
Well, sure, that's what takes you back to
Right.
exactly where I said.
It's double the immigration of 1990 and triple the immigration of 1980.
Are we done with the anti-immigration nativist
about
sentiment
it.
here?
I don't know, Pat sounds like he's just
America
warming
is-
up. He's just warming
Xenophobe,
up.
Eleanor, xenophobe.
The question was, is the Trump immigration policy sensible public policy? And
Well,
the fact that Republicans agree with it doesn't make it sensible. It is wildly expensive. I cannot picture an America where we're going to deport 11 million people. And if you want to start the machinery to reject citizenship for people born in this country. I think that's going to be a pretty steep climb. A country built on immigrants. If we didn't have the immigrants coming into this country, we wouldn't have an agriculture sector, for one part.
Thank you.
And
We didn't have
when you
agriculture
talk about
before we had
most
40 million
people
immigrants?
want,
Your grapefruit would be a lot more
most people-
expensive.
Most people want, I mean, I can cite surveys that show most people want the 11 million people in this country to be allowed to stay and to earn a path
Yeah.
to
What's
citizenship.
What's interesting,
Hold on, let me ask you a question. Donald Trump also advocates a timeout on legal immigration to reorder priorities for admitting new immigrants. Is that sound policy?
no, I don't think so, because we need some immigrants coming into this country. We need legal immigrants for some of the reasons Ellen mentions. But look, I would say that quite a lot of what Trump mentioned is actually relatively moderate. Republicans should have jumped ahead of that, and it is ludicrous to me that Republicans haven't actually presented their own proposals until now.
Actually,
in a
they
lot
have.
of cases. Well, but they haven't really pushed it in specific terms. And Trump has, you need that bullet point
It's not
plan
my
that
turn
appeals-
yet, but I can talk about that.
Well, but see, here's the thing. With immigration reform in the country, the problem with what Trump is presenting is that those final elements, 11 million deportations. We're not going to have people going door to door doing that. And that, in the end, is the crux of the problem. But articulating the debate, we need legal immigration, we need to secure the border. Those things can go together. The debate.
Well, the funny thing about Trump's proposals is most of them are in the Republican platform already. The really problematic parts are the idea of mass expulsions, like you mentioned, mass deportations. Estimates are it would take like 20 years and God knows how much money. And then the idea of the so-called anchor babies or the birthright citizenship. That is just... it's not going to happen, essentially. For one thing, you're right, legally, they're not going to amend the Constitution. And the interpretation, this takes us back to the Obamacare argument. People will be in there looking for fine print that can be reinterpreted. You can interpret all you want to.
Yeah.
I doubt that this Supreme Court would go along with suddenly saying birthright
It also
citizenship
takes you back
unconstitutional.
to
Restrict the Supreme Court's jurisdiction under Article 3, Section 2.
It also
Which would mean
takes-
it goes to Congress?
Congress passes
think
it
Congress
and
would,
tells the
do away
Supreme
with-
Court to stay out.
You think Congress would
Okay,
realistically
let
do
me-
away with
I think a
birthright
Republican
citizenship?
Congress would
but
do
they
it.
wouldn't,
It
but they wouldn't amend the
also,
Constitution. I doubt it.
takes you back to the origins of Donald Trump as a political figure in the current debate when he was challenging President Obama's birth. He's a birther. This is more of this right-wing birther citizenship
Nativist.
nonsense. Nativism. You know all the words.
Birth of business.
Excuse me, in the past, I hate to interrupt you all. I don't think I did.
Whose show do you think this is, John?
In the past, America has had time to assimilate new immigrants into the melting pot. The current social experiment in unprecedented high immigration rates may overwhelm the ability to assimilate new immigrants, and we could end up like Europe, with pockets of immigrant communities hostile to core American values.
Assimilation
That's
is much
exactly
better here.
right.
Number
That's
one,
exactly
it's not.
right,
listen
John.
Number
Pat,
one,
and then
it is
All
not.
right,
It is not unprecedented. We've had higher rates in the
John,
past.
John.
People have been saying for 200 years we got
right.
too many immigrants.
Let me-
That's the know-nothing
okay.
movement. That era
Yeah,
is
but
over.
we've also
John.
had time to assimilate.
John,
We've
you
got
had
time to
40
assimilate, John. We are not like Europe.
We
Go
didn't-
over to Paris and visit the Bonouis
Right.
around the suburbs. They are complete.
London.
It's
Hey,
more like
John,
Soweto
you're talking
than
about
it is what
Paris?
we've got.
John,
about
let me-
Paris, talking about Rome. You could go all
I've been to
around
all those
Europe.
places. I've been
They
to
are
them
not
all.
ghettoized. We are not
Let me
ghettoized
introduce
like
some
they are.
facts here, John.
We've got
Let me introduce some
multiculturalism
facts
working.
here. From 1925 to 1965, we basically had zero immigration, legal or illegal. Everybody went to public schools. We went through the Depression together. We went through the war
And why-
together.
why
Wait,
was there
hold
not-
it, you
why
talked.
was there not
We went
immigration?
through the war together, radio, TV.
Yeah.
By 1960, we were one nation and one people
Oh, yeah,
under
right.
Ike and Kennedy. And now we're speaking
Maybe
hundreds
your
of
neighborhood.
languages,
I have,
200 languages in
Right.
Chicago schools.
Yeah, it's all gone
Wait a
downhill
minute.
since Elvis came out, right? I mean, Pat, we were not one nation. Have you, and
We
you
weren't
know
one
it.
nation. We,
Well,
97% of us spoke English.
200
The fastest growing language
There is a
radio
median
is
there.
And
200
people,
Spanish.
immigrants are learning
Comprehensive.
English. This is a
200
canard that they're not.
200 languages in a public school is not a bad thing.
That's not
And
new
if
either.
it weren't for politicians who tried to exploit all these grievances, and probably it was Ted Kennedy who pioneered the legislation on the Hill that equalized immigration to this country so that it wasn't just specifically from European
look,
countries. The
look.
world is a bigger place than the
but,
folks
but some people,
you and
the
I
American
grew up
people,
with in the 1950s.
American people have never voted for mass immigration, and they have voted repeatedly to stop illegal
They vote for
immigration.
And yet
mass
it still goes
immigration
on.
every day
And it
when
still
they,
goes
And yet
on.
it still
when they hire
continues
people.
because
That's
that's
why
the
you got
American
Donald
way.
Trump.
It's the
That's why you
American
got
way.
Donald Trump.
I mean, Marco Rubio is an anchor baby by your definition. His
He
parents
was
were
born
not.
in the United States.
Yes, but his parents weren't citizens when he was born here. If you do away with that, then he would not be a citizen.
You
Governor
cannot retroactively take away
I'm
citizenship.
just
I'll agree
saying,
with you.
if that law been
Okay.
effective,
Anchor
then
babies
you're
you
stopping
can
the
deal
future
with.
Marco Rubios. That's what
This
you're
sounds
doing.
like a rebellion more than it does a talk show. Issue 2, Schumer's rebellion.
I found the inspections regime not anywhere, anytime, but with lots of holes in it. Particularly troublesome, you have to wait 24 days before you can inspect. That will allow some of the radioactivity to be seen, but not non-radioactivity that goes into building a bomb, all the kinds of other things you need.
Chuck Schumer, Democratic senator from New York, opposes President Obama's nuclear deal with Iran. The senator says the deal's inspections framework, designed to verify Iran's compliance, is too weak, and Senator Schumer's opposition is a problem for the White House. Senator Schumer is a key voice in the Democratic Party and is very influential with members of the Democratic Senate caucus. He's also likely to be the next Democratic Senate minority or majority leader when Senator Harry Reid retires at the end of next year. President Obama worries that Senator Schumer's opposition to the Iran nuclear deal might lead other Democrats to do the same. And on Tuesday, Senator Robert Menendez, Democrat from New Jersey, did just that.
But if Iran is to acquire a nuclear bomb, it will not have my name on it. It is for these reasons that I will vote to disapprove the agreement.
With every Republican senator already opposed to his deal, and many Democrats staying quiet, President Obama needs at least 34 senators to vote in his favor. But in a further complication, on Wednesday, the Associated Press reported that a side deal between Iran and the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency's nuclear inspections will allow Iran to self-inspect its suspected weaponization research site at Parchin, Iran's military complex. Critics of the deal say that this arrangement will allow Iran to cheat.
Is the Iran deal doomed? Eleanor Cliff.
Absolutely not. First of all, there's some reporting that the AP story about that side deal doesn't exactly hold up, and I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary in the arrangements between the IAEA and Iran. Secondly, I think the administration has made a convincing case that it's a very strong verification regime, and I think Senator Schumer and Senator Menendez waited to come out with their opposition until it's I think they're pretty confident, or the White House is pretty confident, they've got a firewall in the House and the Senate with enough Democrats to sustain the veto. So I think this is wired, if you want to say, and I think Senator Schumer is very careful. He's maintaining his relationship with the Jewish community, as well he should, but he's also not torpedoing the president when he's likely to be the Senate leader in the next
Schumer's
Congress.
not leading, John. He's deliberately not leading. Gillibrand, the other senator from New York, has come out for the deal. I think what Schumer's done, he's taken his position. He's not acting, he's not whipping the Democrats at all, John. And I think they realize what's going to happen is both houses are going to reject the deal, and then the President of the United States has got 34 votes or more than that. The deal is going to go through. Mitch McConnell, I believe, this week conceded as much that the President eventually is going to win this deal. And that's going to be it. It's going to be the law. I mean, or it's going to be the international law.
How serious is the revelation that Iran's military is in charge of the assessment of whether it tried to develop nuclear weapons triggers at the Parchin base? Do you understand?
Yes, it's very serious, and I think I'm probably the only one on the panel who's skeptical of this deal. I think the people who were saying that there should be no enrichment as part of the deal were wrong. That was never going to happen. Harmony would never have agreed to that. But look, the potholes in the deal are now becoming apparent. The problem with Parchin here, with the Iranian military controlling access, is that they will conceal because they've done it before. I suspect what is ultimately going to happen now is that, as the panel suggests, the deal will get through. The president will have 34 votes. But I think you will see Iran 2 to 3 years from now beginning to cheat. They will cheat on ballistic missile technology first, and then they will break out, and then we will have a nuclear arms race in the Middle East.
Wait a minute. What about the side agreement between the IAEA, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. Yep.
And Iran was kept secret from the Congress.
Right.
The revelation has undermined confidence.
And I don't know why they did that, because it was going to come out.
I think that revelation has been undermined too, however. It's, we're talking about top secret negotiations, and the parties are denying the accuracy of that report. So I'd give it time. I mean, if Iran cheats.
Today, though. But the text looks like
well, President Trump will monitor the agreement once he's in office, so we can all, it'll be the best agreement we've ever seen once he cares for it. It'll be fabulous.
What Parchin is all about, John, it's a military base. It's not a nuclear weapon site. They were apparently testing, allegedly, nuclear triggers or detonators. This was in 2003. Before the program, according to the American intelligence agencies, all 16 shut down.
Well, since you're so knowledgeable about this, how about this? How important is it to know whether or not the Iranians tested nuclear triggers at Parchin?
Listen, our intelligence knows what they did. John Kerry said before the thing was signed, we know what they were up to.
Is it crucial? It is crucial to understanding how quickly Iran might be able to build a nuclear weapon and the extent of Iran's previous efforts to evade detection and mislead inspection.
No, because I'll tell you why. Because plutonium can't be produced under this agreement, and uranium, high-grade uranium, can't be produced under this agreement, and that's locked in. And without that, you ain't got no bombs.
And the Energy Secretary, Ernest Moniz, is an expert on all this stuff. They've done extensive briefings with reporters, with lawmakers, and if you listen to all the safeguards along the way, you come away as a believer. They won't burp over there at 2 in the morning that we don't know about it.
Yeah, well, why don't you tell that to Obama? Because the town hall, this summer's town hall meetings undermine Obama's ability to maintain a veto-proof level of congressional support. A new CNN ORC poll shows 56% of the public oppose the agreement, only 41% support it.
Well, there's been millions of dollars spent on negative advertising, but the deal's going to go through. I want to say,
didn't want to give away the Panama Canal either, John.
Well, this is they will weaponize first, though. That's the problem, which is Parchin. They will build the ballistics, and then they will break out very quickly. That's the snap
Why would they do that when Israel's got about 100 atom bombs and we got about 5,000?
Because it assures the revolution. It's nuclear blackmail. I don't think they would use it on Israel, but they will use it to unleash their proxies. Well, look at what they're doing in Iraq and Lebanon. That's the policy. It's the region.
Look, in Syria and Iraq, they're trying to stop ISIS.
The Ayatollah,
well, no, I mean, you analyze. Everyone else is seemingly believing that they're going to play ball.
You're putting in place a deal that's the best that's available out there, and then you check along the way.
That's
you don't
the debate.
automatically assume it's going to fall apart in 3 years.
But you're assuming it's going to work.
We'll have a bomb by the end of the year, right?
Okay, youthful Iran. Iran's elderly leader often makes Western headlines, but he's only one side of Iran. After all, today, about 70% of Iranians are 37 years old or younger. And today, about 25% of Iranians are 14 years old or younger. They were born after September 11, 2001. Question, are Iran's youth jingoistic about the country's nuclear ambitions? Clarence.
Every indication I've heard and people I've talked to in the Iranian American community certainly indicate that they are not militantly anti-American, quite the opposite. They want to be part of the same world culture that America is a part of. You've got people in Iran, though, who are hawks, naturally, and you've got some doves in the system, and what we have to do is to deal with the folks who are really interested in some progress, and not those who are
millennials have distinctly different behaviors. Millennials, you know who they are, Pat?
Yeah, Jack.
Values and attitudes from previous generations as a response to the technological and economic implications.
Well, this is one of the advantages of the deal, John. This is one of the advantages of the deal. 10 more years, those folks are going to grow older, and are they all really going to say, what does the Ayatollah say about how we should live our lives? The prospects are, if we keep them away from a bomb for 10 years, the odds are that it's going to get better rather than worse. Now, it might get worse, but 10 years or 15 years, no bomb is fine.
Well, President Rouhani, who was really pushed the push behind this, he was elected on a commitment that he would improve the quality of life of the Iranian people. And young people are really looking to him to deliver on that promise. Right. So I do think that people talk about an Iranian spring, and we may well see that.
Is the Iran deal doomed? Yes or no? Exit question, Pat.
It's locked.
I agree, locked.
Yeah, I think you have to have moderation in the terms of dealing with the younger people, but the Rev Guards are in charge, Khamenei is in charge. You have to deal with the person at the moment, because years from now you're going to have a nuclear arms race in the region. But again, you know, you have to deal with the people who are in charge.
Is that a yes or a no?
Is it doomed or not
locked or not?
Doomed or not doomed?
I think it's doomed.
Not doomed.
It's a mortal lock. Issue 3, Arctic politics.
And I think we should not risk the potential catastrophes that could come about from accidents in looking for more oil in a pristine, one of the few remaining pristine regions of the world.
Hillary Clinton has broken with President Obama on environmental policy. This week, the Interior Department approved Shell's request to drill for oil in a certain area off the Alaska coast. But Mrs. Clinton says she opposes that approval and believes the risks are too great. Republicans disagree. They say that Mrs. Clinton is playing to a hardline environmental lobby within the Democratic Party in order to consolidate her campaign against the growing populist challenge from Bernie Sanders. And here's how Republican presidential candidate Jeb Bush responded on Twitter. Quote, "Wrong. Being more anti-energy than Obama is extreme. We should embrace energy revolution to lower prices and create U.S. jobs." End quote.
Who is right, Jeb or Hillary?
If you ask me, I can answer that. First of all, oil is tanking. It's not clear that Shell will even, go ahead with plans for drilling. And I think it was a surprise to a lot of Democrats that President Obama gave them that permit. And I think that has more to do with geopolitics than environmental politics, because those Russian missiles come through the Arctic, and the Russians have been very aggressive in that area. So Hillary Clinton was looking for some ways to separate herself from the president. She couldn't do it on trade. She can't do it on Iran. This is perfect, and it certainly helps with Democrats.
Tom Rogan.
I think that's absolutely right. I think Hillary Clinton is looking to consolidate herself with the Bernie Sanders element of the party. I tend to think, look, I think it was right to give the approval there because of the ability of energy. The problem with green technology as it exists at the moment is that it requires massive government subsidies to keep electricity bills down for American families. That'll be a looming issue. But fracking is going to be the way of the future, and so I suspect actually conventional oil will decline.
Why is Russia expanding its military presence in the Arctic?
Well, because Putin is very much believes in a strong military. Secondly, the Russians, John, there's 5 countries. There's Norway, the United States, Denmark, Russia, and Canada claim all this area. There's 2 very large ridges underwater off Russia, which they claim is part of their continental shelf, which would almost give them the North Pole. Right. So he is looking to the future to claim all this territory, and basically they're using it for the resources they can get there. But this is something that can be negotiated between the United States and the Russians, and I think it very much should be.
Besides Putin's expanding everywhere else, why not into the Bering Strait as well?
So you approve of Russia's movement into the Bering Strait?
Oh, I don't approve of many movements by Putin at all. I think we have to keep an eye on him. But that's an area that we've got very strong interest in. So
what about Canada? Canada's beefing up its Arctic bases.
Yeah, Canada's our buddies.
In anticipation of vulnerability up there.
Well, Canada doesn't have much of a military, John. If there's going to be any military confrontation, we know who it's going to be.
All right, let me try this out. China is also establishing an Arctic toehold by attempting to purchase a huge tract of land in Iceland 5 years ago, and was rebuffed. It may purchase a Norwegian fjord instead.
China's a problem.
Have you thought of investing in a Norwegian fjord?
I would call the Norwegians and tell them, tell the Chinese no.
Well, the Chinese economy isn't doing so well, so they may not have that much money to spread around anymore.
The problem with China, we have to be aware of as well, is their construction in the Spratly Islands keeps going up and up. I hope President Obama should really get in Xi Jinping's face when he comes to visit Washington, because the Chinese are really causing big problems for us on the cyber front and on that challenge to stability.
They may be overextending themselves, though, as well, because they've been on a building boom everywhere, inside China, outside China.
Chinese have got real internal problems right now. That's right. Real internal problems.
Which makes them even more dangerous.
Well, Jeb Bush was asked about this. He tried to outlaw offshore drilling, and that was unpopular with the majority of Florida voters.
Jeb outlawed offshore drilling in Florida?
He opposed offshore drilling in Florida when he was governor.
Right, because that's off of the state that he's governing, but he's happy to drill everywhere else.
Right. We haven't heard about him.
Not in my backyard, NIMBY.
You think he has anything to say about drilling in Alaska?
I'm sure
he supports
it.
The big debate I hope we have is that, you know, there are obviously the benefits to the renewable sources, but what I would say is disingenuous at the moment about the Democratic position on that is that they're not being honest about the fact that it really will. California, they're projecting 47% increase in electricity prices over the next 16 years.
Predictions, Pat?
The odds have moved to about 50-50, John, that Hillary Rodham Clinton will not be the Democratic nominee.
Hello.
Hillary Clinton is still the odds-on favorite to be the nominee. It's very hard for anybody else to get in the race. But I really want to salute the two women who got through the Ranger School. Yay. Big moment for women, big social change.
Yeah, I'll add on to Eleanor that's right. I mean, the Ranger School, I know from friends that is tough as hell, so credit to them for that. My prediction, though, in the coming weeks, you've seen it a bit this week, but with North Korea, that's going to heat up. Kim Jong-un wants attention, and he's going to push the ball.
Joe Biden will not run for president this time around, even though he's thinking about it very strongly. You heard it here first.
Really?
Yes.
Inside information?
No, just my wonderful clairvoyance.
Well, as he sees the slippage with Hillary, will not that induce him to run?
Oh, that's why he's thinking about it, because Hillary's numbers have been slipping, and she hasn't really changed her strategy in a way that's...
I predict that Alexis Tsipras, who resigned as Greece's prime minister and called early elections, will triumph in next month's voting, persuading voters that he is the best one to implement the terms of Greece's bailout. Bye-bye.